there.
Take 3, maybe?
Probably, yeah. We've had a bunch of false starts tonight.
We're here. We're queer. Well, only one of us is.
Thanks for that, Kristen. Welcome to episode 46 of the Nosebleeds Podcast, a RabidHabs podcasting network podcast. I'm your host, Ian Boisvert. I'm your host, Killer Keemstar.
No.
With my friends Kristen Hines and Trevor Agnew, as always.
Friend of the show, maybe.
Long-time listener, first-time caller, Kristen Hines.
I should have taken off this guard thing before we started going, but that's fine.
It's fine.
Part-time lover and a full-time friend?
Yeah.
You've been promoted.
This is our last show before the 2019-2020 season starts.
Yeah, next time you hear from us, I will have been at Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
When you think back to this off-season, what's the first thing that you think
Today?
of? No,
Did we do
the
that?
entire off-season.
The whole thing.
When you look back,
This is the beginning.
going back to, let's say, the draft. The draft, to me, signals the start of the off-season.
Oh, Jesus.
What's the one thing that sticks out to you?
I'm selfish, and so I'm going to think about the Rangers and say, like, this is the beginning.
The Rangers had a hot girl summer, Trevor.
They
Truly.
did.
Fucking hot girl summer.
But are they ready
The other teams
to have
were
a
like,
fierce girl fall?
Feels girl for-
The other teams were like hot girl bummer.
Whoa.
And
That's Columbus. Columbus was hot girl bummer,
Yeah,
100%.
for sure.
Looking at you, Lumbo.
We had Capo Caco and Panarin, and I'm talking Trubas. I'm talking. So it was a good off.
What about you, Kristen? One thing.
One
Oh, I
thing?
gave a lot of things.
Rorschach test this.
God, I don't
The
know.
first thing that comes into your mind.
I really...
This isn't good podcasting.
I mean, I think the biggest thing was just, like, the fact that there were so many unsigned people and
Yeah, that's a good
that
one.
was, like, the ball waiting to drop.
You can hold your mic a little further away, by the way.
I can? Am I peeking?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah. For me, it's the RFAs and how long
Yeah.
it took. And some of them still aren't signed.
Specifically Marner.
Marner,
Even though that's,
yeah,
that's kind of new in my brain, but
Yeah.
we had been waiting on him.
Yeah.
For quite some
For me,
time.
it's Marner, too. It dominated conversation all summer, just like Nylander did last year.
Yeah.
Let's look ahead past this season. We're at the draft next year.
Oh,
The
God.
2020 NHL entry draft, which
The
will be
Ottawa-
in Montreal.
The Ottawa
Hopefully
Senators
we'll be
have
there.
the first overall pick.
I hope they don't. Alexi Lafreniere is going to be really good. Anyway,
We might be there for that draft.
we might be there. Let's go.
Keep watching us.
We're sitting there at the Bell Center
Oh
having
my
some
God.
lovely Xian show,
What is
hot
that?
dog.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
You're
Thank
You're
you.
gonna have to guide us.
some
around Montreal.
poutine. What are we? We're not talking about the draft.
Isn't it weird that the French word for poutine is poutine?
It's lovely.
Whoa.
We're not talking about the players being drafted. What are we talking about?
I'm talking about how the damn French stole our word for poutine. I don't know.
Taylor Hall's a free agent next year.
Yeah.
Is he signed by July 1st?
I say he
I
stays
think
with the
so.
Devils too.
And I guess we can get more into. We'll get to more of the preview stuff later on. I think it's nice
It'll
to
be really
be
interesting.
reflective on what happened and maybe looking ahead to what we think we might have. Let's talk about some news first.
That's the news.
Let's start with the one I want to talk about the least.
Okay, good. I wanted to do that as well.
And we'll talk about Auston Matthews.
Yeah.
Let's completely unpack what happened,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
I think that's fair.
Sure.
And then
Sure.
Kristen, I'm going to tell everybody this right now.
Why?
Kristen's been fired up about this.
I have been, yeah.
Go on Twitter.
If any of you follow me on Twitter, that's pretty much what I've been talking about for the last 3 days.
She's been, I'm going to set this up, and we're going to rip Kristen like a Beyblade, and she's just going to go.
I just want to preface this with, it seems like every single fucking off-season, one of these fucks does something.
Yeah.
It's something to disappoint me, something to make me feel like I hate the game.
What happened last summer?
It's just, I don't know.
I don't mean to
There's something.
rip your heart back out again, but I don't know if you...
Slava Voinov.
Yeah, that's right. We were talking about that last summer.
Yeah.
Scottsdale, Arizona.
You've set the scene.
It's hot in Scottsdale.
It's
Arizona.
May. The Toronto Maple Leafs have been eliminated from the first round of the playoffs by failing to eliminate the Bruins in 7 games once again.
Mm-hmm.
It's 86 degrees right now in Scottsdale, and it's like 5 o'clock at night.
Oh, fuck that.
Well, it's a bit later in the evening.
Hey, guys, doesn't matter. Let's move on. Auston Matthews is hanging out with his friends along Scottsdale Road, which I would imagine is a pretty main road in Scottsdale.
Just gonna throw it out there.
After a night of drinking, Auston Matthews returns to his apartment complex, I would imagine it was.
Yeah, it's his.
At around 2 in the morning, a security officer at the apartment complex is in her vehicle. It is locked. She is doing paperwork. I mentioned again, at 2 o'clock in the morning. When Auston Matthews decides it would be a good idea to try to get into said car.
Was never... This is one distinction I want to make. It was never clarified who decided this. Who, like, could have been one of his buddies being like, hey, go do this. Whatever.
That's...
Okay.
For me, neither here nor there. Right. If Auston ended up being the one who...
People get snippety when you make absolute decisions on something.
Hey, come fight me.
You know what our living room looks like.
Yeah. They can find us. You can tell by the car noises going by. They can triangulate our location.
Definitely.
We've mentioned
where we are a couple times on this show.
The security officer then gets out of the vehicle.
After someone tried to open
the door.
She confronted them. They were all very intoxicated. It was Matthews and 3 other guys, or is it Matthews and there were 3 total?
Matthews and 2 other guys.
Okay, so 3 total.
I believe.
The officer turns out to be a veteran from Afghanistan.
Yep.
Who
a U.S. Army veteran.
Right. Who I shouldn't say suffers with. That's brutal. Who lives with PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
She confronted...
Obviously, they probably didn't know that, but that's fine.
They didn't know that, and that's fair, but you should treat everyone with respect.
They knew it.
Yeah. No, you're right.
They knew it after she told them.
Yeah. Right.
Which is what she did when she got out of the car. She said, hey, I'm a veteran with PTSD.
She basically asked them, why did you think that was funny? That's not funny. To which Auston Matthews allegedly responded, well, I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
He was then told to go back into his apartment, at which point Auston Matthews pulled down his pants, showed his underwear, bent over and grabbed his butt, I believe is what the report says, and then walked the remainder of the distance back to his room
pants
with
down.
His pants around his ankles.
Well, that must have been hard.
Or he went to the elevator.
The Toronto Maple Leafs allege that they didn't find out about this until all of us did on Twitter a few nights ago.
You say alleged, like, do you not believe that?
I don't know.
Oh, see, someone came
There's a lot to unpack here.
There's
so much. Okay, Kristen, I'm going to let you go off.
We'll interject.
Go off, sis.
Why, for the people at home, is what Auston Matthews did really bad?
So, living as some of you may know this, I'm a woman.
Fuck. That's the show. You can follow us on Twitter.
Mind, body, soul. I am a woman.
Can I stop for a second?
Sure, yeah.
We're laughing a lot through this.
We're
not trying to make light of this.
It's uncomfortable.
We come here, to quote Crystalia, we come here for a silly goose time.
Yep.
That's the only reason we're here. And we're trying our best because we can't go through a week of hockey news without talking about this.
And sometimes there are some not fun silly goose times to be had in the NHL.
I would agree.
And this is one of those times. So
keep going. You are a woman. That's a big old check. You nailed that.
Big old check. I want to stress this because I feel like when I get angry, I tend to not think of this first. That cis-presenting men have this privilege that they can walk through this world without being afraid of the same things that cis-presenting women, etc., do not have. And so this may not be the first thing that comes to mind of a lot of the male viewers of this incident. And it's that women, when put in situations when we are alone, more so when we're put into situations when we're alone at night, we have a pretty constant fear of being attacked or even catcalled, harassed, followed, sexually assaulted, the gambit. So what a lot of people are perceiving as a fun, drunken joke is actually something that causes a lot of harm to women, and at the least is a predatory joke. Predatory misstep. Not even misstep, really. No, predatory behavior that, scared somebody. And that misunderstanding...
Sure. Your intent doesn't matter.
Right.
We all work in the corporate world. We get those sexual harassment trainings all the time. While this isn't technically the same thing, the intent in what you say doesn't matter. If someone feels unsafe in what you say, the next action should be to apologize, not to double down, which is what he did here. He's like, "Well, I thought it was funny."
That's what a lot of people are doing in response to this,
right?
Too.
And that leads to this idea that this is a systemic thing. Like, this is
definitely
that you don't understand that your actions could make someone feel uncomfortable just by the sake of who you are and who they are. It's something that unfortunately just exists.
Right.
It's a problem that's existed forever.
And God, where was I going to go with that?
Especially with that
that's
mustache
the show.
He has.
Again, back to Silly Goose Time for a second. That doesn't fucking help. His mustache? There's no way it helps him here. Like,
it probably looks like a fake mustache. That's a disguise.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the really, really frustrating thing is that I've seen a lot of responses where it's like, oh, it was just a dumb thing. He was drunk, whatever. Like, it was just a little fun game that he played, whatever. What you perceive as fun and harmless is something that is perceived as very dangerous for a woman.
Sure.
There's body cam footage of her going to the police station that morning, the same morning, I'm assuming, because it was at 2 a.m. whatever, and she's explaining all of this stuff, and she's saying, something that a lot of women identify with, where it's like, he jiggled the door handle of my car, and I don't know him from Adam, and I don't know what his intent is. He could have been trying to get in my car to rape me.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying with
right.
Concrete certainty that Auston Matthews had that intent.
Because you don't want a slippery slope with this. You don't want to go, well, what if he did? It's tough. Like, it's really tough to put him in that.
I'm just saying, from a perspective of a woman, that is something that we're always afraid of.
Right.
And that is the first thing I would have thought of if I saw 3 young, athletically built men trying to get into my car. I would have thought, holy shit, they're trying to do something to me. Not, oh, they're just playing a game with me. Yeah. Oh, they're just joking.
It's just you have to take all of this into consideration. The context of everything. They were drunk, and I think she knew they were drunk from the beginning.
Oh yeah, she's an expert in this.
It's 3 very large men. Mm-hmm. It's 2:00 in the morning. Mm-hmm. There's no one else around. Like, it just... Optics matter a lot in the way that we're looking at this.
Entirely.
And optically, I don't know how I can... And I'll say this. When this news first started to break, I had it wrong. Like,
everyone did.
It was tough to piece together exactly what was happening. Mm-hmm. It turns out to be a lot... I don't want to say it was more sinister than I thought it was, but fuck if it doesn't look like it. Like, it looks worse than it probably is. But you have to understand how things look. You know, like, you have to understand as a professional athlete, as a human, that the way things look matter in the way that you're then perceived.
And I think an important distinction to make is that it looks different depending on what your experience is.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's going to look different to you than it looks to me.
Sure. And I'll say, like, when we were in college, you had night classes, and I would go get you. Like, I would go to your classroom building late at night to make sure that you were going to make it back to your dorm.
I worked at the campus library until 11 p.m. and first of all, it was understood by my supervisor, who's now a really good friend of ours, that, you know, she would be very willing to drive me to the other campus. We lived on a separate campus that was accessible by shuttle or by car if you had one. But for a long time, I didn't have a car on campus. So I'd have to go walk across campus at 11 p.m. to go to a shuttle stop that if I didn't make it right at 11, I'd have to wait 15 minutes.
Or wasn't it a half hour?
Oh, at that point, yeah, it was a half hour.
So
get the facts straight.
Yeah,
so
know the facts.
To a person, like, a lot of time I ended up really fucking booking it to get to that shuttle. And,
you gotta.
And I bought pepper spray, and if I would have to wait that long, it felt like an eternity.
Yeah.
You know, like
we can't, you know, I know I'm an idiot. Like, I know I'm not very smart, but we
all know.
Yeah. This is episode 46. They all fucking know. How many blog posts have I written? Probably too many.
Ian, none of them are legible.
Yeah. It's like, dude, fucking keyboard's all fucked up, I swear.
Font.
Yeah. But you gotta listen to when people are saying, hey, this is when an entire group of people that share one common trait, and it's their sex or gender, however they wish to identify it, when they all stand up and go, hey, this is fucking bullshit, you should probably listen to them.
Right. And if
you're the guy going, no, you're wrong. You're just wrong.
And the really, really frustrating thing is that I've seen reporters kind of gloss over it or trivialize it or, you know, whatever. I'm not going to name names. That's whatever. You can read my Twitter replies if you really want to know. But
it's brutal.
When people are telling you in earnest, this is actually a problem, like, please don't invalidate our experiences. Just listen to us. I understand if you don't get it at first, but if someone is telling you something in earnest and you just don't
use the word
flippant, and you're flippant with them.
Yeah.
That was the golden word of the week. Flippant means like you're like brushing them off. Like it's
very
like,
dismissive.
Dismissive. That's exactly it.
I've never heard that word.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
Don't do that. Listen to people when they tell you something. If there's a person of a different race, a different gender, a different sexual identity, a different whatever experience, and they're telling you, hey, I've actually lived this experience, and the way you're addressing it is not right. Just fucking listen to them. It takes 2 seconds to sit and think about how you've done something, and try to change it and make it better. And I think there is a real learning opportunity for Auston Matthews in this situation where if he's given the right resources, and most importantly, if he wants to become a better person as a result of this, not a better Toronto Maple Leaf,
right,
not a better hockey player, if he wants to become a better person as a result of this situation, he will listen to women and people who have been in the situation.
Let's use that to segue into the Leafs and their response. Matthews' response was as canned as possible, and it couldn't have been worse. What did he say? The incident or whatever at some point? Like, it was just bad. It looked like a guy who didn't care about what had happened.
Yeah, definitely. Like his team definitely didn't like prep him.
And it was like focused more so on I disappointed the organization.
You don't have to hold that right there. Like you can put it down. I think.
All right.
Because you're fucking peeking all over the place.
I'm sorry. This is the most emotional I'll get in this episode. He started with like, I'm sorry for disappointing the Toronto Maple Leafs organization and being a distraction to the team. And then saying, I'm sorry if I caused any individual any stress. Now, a lot of people were saying the legality of the situation, he can't really admit fault or, admit certain things about while there's a pending court case, whatever. His lawyers want to do the best they can. But if you get to that point, just decline comment, because there is nothing you can do in this situation that makes you look better.
I think that goes to lead a little bit to Kyle Dubas. Remember last year when Morgan Riley said/didn't say something?
Yes. And
then the next day, Kyle Dubas was golden boy and was saying, we as an organization don't talk, blah, 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 very Kyle Dubas things. Mm-hmm. I feel like his tone rings a little flat on this one. Like, I don't want to say, well, it's another guy for his team. I don't like that because it's not his fault.
Sure.
But I will say Kyle Dubas doesn't have a great track record of this.
He contributes to a culture.
It goes back to his time as the general manager of the Sioux Greyhounds, mm-hmm. where Nick Cousins, now playing for the Montreal Canadiens.
3 players,
but Nick Cousins being, I think, the only one that made it to the NHL at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm just using him as a focal point.
As a reference point for people, yeah.
They were investigated for
sexual assault.
Ultimately, the charges were dropped, but the way that Dubas handled it wasn't very good. Mm-hmm. The team investigation wasn't great. I think Kyle Dubas has a lot to learn about how to deal with these things.
Sure.
He likes to play this card of being
the woke young GM.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times it works for him. It doesn't really help him here.
When you're not, then you're not.
Like, I had an honest conversation with... No. Crack the whip here.
Yeah.
He's in trouble with the law. This isn't he said dumb word. Auston Matthews is facing a misdemeanor. Mm-hmm. It doesn't sound bad, but it's bad to have on your team. Like, I'm not going to say it's bad to have on your team. That's not fair. It's just bad.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Like, I don't... Word man not very good sometimes. I feel like they're taking a very laissez-faire attitude to this. They're like, it'll sort itself out. Mm-hmm. We're going to wait and see what's happening.
Well...
They claim to have found out the day that we all found out on Twitter, which I don't know how much I believe.
Mm-hmm.
How did this story come out?
It was actually a Habs fan.
Ironically enough, a Habs fan
at Morad on Twitter
somehow found the public record of the charge.
Can I say something for a second?
Go ahead.
Everyone's kind of making that guy into a hero right now. The Leafs are living rent-free in your head if you're going to the Scottsdale Register and searching Auston Matthews in the police report.
Does he live in Scottsdale?
I don't know, but fuck, if this isn't all Habs fans, I don't fucking know. Yeah. It's absolutely something they would all do at least once. In fact, I'm going to go look at the Toronto Sports Register tomorrow to see if Mitch Marner did anything stupid.
Someone said that Mitch Marner's dad broke the story, and I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
Fucking Paul!
I think one of the reasons why there is such a laissez-faire attitude. Did you guys see Steve Simmons' quote about the Toronto Maple Leafs organization?
Preface to that, he has poop for brain. Like, he's just not smart.
Yeah.
So...
But did you hear it?
No.
Okay. I'm going to read it to you.
I don't... If I never heard him speak ever again, it would be fucking amazing.
Okay.
Is this a good thing that he's about to say?
It's interesting.
Okay.
And it's something along the lines
I don't want to dwell on this for too much longer, but...
It's something along the lines of something that you said, normally stuff like this doesn't come out. It doesn't even come out. So, the Maple Leafs have a full-time security man. Under normal circumstances, when a player finds himself in some kind of difficulty... One of the first calls should go to the security man. On most teams, the security men are former police officers.
Brian Burke said this, didn't he? I think Brian Burke said this earlier today. And someone else pointed out that that might be a huge conflict of interest if the security man is someone whose interest at one point was protecting and serving the public and is now to keep guys from getting in trouble. It seems like the wrong move.
They know how to work the system. They know how to make problems disappear.
Right. That's not what you want.
For years around Toronto,
sorry. Keep going.
Security men for the professional franchises have been making incidents disappear. Big name players in big time trouble that you've never heard about.
This is exactly what I was saying.
Yep.
If you it goes back to what we said earlier, either last week or the week before about Kuznetsov. If you think that Auston Matthews is the only one who got in trouble with the police this summer,
exactly.
I've got a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you.
I mean,
there's no fucking chance that happened.
But
you remember back when Tyler Sagan got in trouble for like house parties? You think they really were only complaining about the noise? No. No.
I think as, for what this situation is, I'm glad when this comes out. I'm glad when there's a public record.
It's a shot across the bow to every other player in the league. Get your shit together, or this is going to be you.
Also, people who do crime should be punished for crime.
Absolutely. So do less crime.
Do less crime. Too. Except be gay, do crimes.
Yeah.
Anarchy crimes.
Sure,
Not sexual assault crimes. Well, maybe we step off of those.
Do you want to talk about if he's going to be the captain or not?
So... this, everyone pivoted immediately to this. He's in trouble. Oh, is he going to be your captain now? Because apparently, I saw pictures leak a few weeks ago of Auston Matthews at a photo shoot with a Leafs jersey with a C on it.
Okay.
Now, Elliot Friedman was reporting that the organization was leading towards Tavares. Or I should say that the organization was almost split. Half of them wanted Matthews, half of them wanted Tavares. They were leaning Tavares because he's just the guy, I think. Yeah. I don't think anyone gets mad about that. You would kind of want Matthews just because he's your first overall pick. He's your franchise player.
But just because he's your best player doesn't mean he's good as a captain.
No, and especially when Mike Babcock won't play him when they're down by a goal in Game 7. It looks even... You know what? It might actually be a way to shield Babcock. If you're gonna sit, I can't have my captain sitting on the bench in the late stages of Game 7. I have to put the C on someone who I know will be playing in those moments.
Yeah.
Until Babcock changes, that's how that's gonna be. I don't know.
I don't think it affects it at all. I think maybe they'll wait a little bit.
They wanted to have a captain name before the season started. That's been reported for a while. I think it's gonna be Tavares.
Really? Okay.
I think part of it is because of what we saw with Marner go on, that maybe naming Matthews captain further creates that divide. I don't know what it's like in their locker room. They seem to like each other.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, it's a business, and they feel like they're getting slighted, You become the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs. You're one of the more marketable people in the country of Canada in the sport.
I saw something, someone brought up the point where I think it was Claude Giroux got arrested.
Yes.
Was that when he was the captain?
This was years ago. So and yes, he was. I think he was the captain at the time. Okay. He was arrested
for grabbing a male police officer's bottom.
Was it a male police officer? I thought it was a female police officer.
If I remember correctly.
It doesn't matter. Sure. Because if that happened today, holy shit, would we not... It would be... That back then, it almost didn't even matter. And that was only 5-6 years ago.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
It's right. Then now we look at him and go, man, how did he get away with everyone backing off of him that quick?
Well, I mean...
Also, is there a worse player?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
In terms of what happened with Matthews, there's not, in terms of, publicity, there's not, a worse player team you could pick. If you wanted a story to get, the biggest... It would be Matthews is the biggest named player I would argue bigger than McDavid if the story.
He's the bigger named he
in terms of how many people talk about.
He sort of has a dual aspect to his personality because he's the most marketable player on the team with the largest market in the sport, right? Mm-hmm. And he's also an American superstar.
Sure.
So you fuck up in America and you fuck up in Canada. It's Brian Burke's quote about being the general manager of the Canadians. You're stupid twice. You're stupid in English and you're stupid in French.
Yeah.
You know? It's that. Like, he's got... And I'm not saying, like, oh, so we need to lay off him because he's got a lot on his plate. No. Quite the opposite. You need to figure this the fuck out. This isn't going anywhere. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to put this together. Just don't do shit like this. Like, it's not... You know how many times I did shit like this? 0 times.
Also, like, I have a very...
0 times.
I have a very, very hard time believing. Like, I think it's a very juvenile idea that when you're drunk, it brings out, like, absolutely heinous behavior that you would never, ever do previously.
As someone who comes from a long line of people who have had a hard time dealing with that shit's always inside you. And I think I'm going to leave that there.
Okay, let's talk about something new.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
What player do you want to talk about?
Let's go to Patrick Laine, because that just happened today.
So, Laine, 2 years, 6.75 AAV. First year is $6 million, second year is 7.5.
Now, what we're seeing is that with RFAs, they like doing that because then it sets up a larger qualifying offer for when they become an RFA after year 2.
Exactly.
So, like Braden Point, his...
No, we can't talk about Braden Point's contract.
I'm gonna get into that a little bit. I know. The last year of his contract is really heavy as far as cap goes because that sets up his qualifying offer to be like $11 million.
It has to be, the qualifying offer has to at least match the last year of the contract.
Right.
Yes.
So a lot of people are, and what Bob McKenzie has been doing, which I think is amazing, is he's saying, you know, okay, so Patrick Laine's is a 2-year deal, which means he can sign another 1 after that, and would he still be RFA eligible? I think so.
I can look.
With Braden Point, his is a 3-year deal, which will walk him, he'll be an RFA at the end of that, and that's the last year of his restricted free agency. So ultimately, what Bob McKenzie's saying is there's a 3-year deal here, their qualifying offer, which has to come for an RFA to keep them from becoming an unrestricted free agent on July 1st. The qualifying offer could just act as the salary for year 4 and then walk them to free agency after that.
That makes sense.
So the player is smart. The player is setting a minimum for what you have to pay me in 3 years. It's kind of a neat thing. Now, one thing we're also seeing is that these contracts are being signed a lot. We're seeing a lot more bridge deals this time around, and that's because in 3 years, the current TV deal is up. And they're expecting that by then, a new TV deal will help create a stimulus in the league, giving the league more money, which will raise the salary cap so that these players can cash in again. They'll cash in again in 3 years and say, well, let's say a player says, I'm worth 11% of the cap.
In 3 years, that 11% will be a lot.
It's a lot more money.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how fast that money will... Because everyone's assuming it's going to be a lot of money, right? I think that's like a given. The new deal will be...
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how fast that impacts the salary cap.
In the States, it might be ESPN getting involved. Now, that's some real motherfucking money. I know NBC's got money. ESPN's got money. And they've got a better platform for getting these games to people. So we'll see. I'm interested in all of that stuff. I mean, as someone who consumes the sport in a variety of different ways, consume the pizza, I'm interested to see how I'm going to get it next.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully it's something that's better than what we have now.
Laine.
This
seemed to just materialize out of nowhere. Darren Dreger said, talks heating up. About 10 minutes later, deal was done. 2 years, 6.75 per, with the deal being weighted a little bit more towards the back. Your first thoughts when this came out, Trevor? You're wearing your Winnipeg Jets jersey today, huh?
In honor. I thought it was good.
Well, that's the fucking show, you guys.
Because Laine was so confusing.
He was so good his first year.
Like, I hope he just goes out and scores, 50 goals each year and just, okay.
He had one good month last year. Last year, he played hockey really well in the month of November, and the rest of it, he was almost invisible. And he had an okay playoff.
He's the biggest question mark in the league right now in terms of, what he's going to be.
He goes out and scores 2 40, 50-goal seasons. He's fucking laughing.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm getting $14 million in 2022. pay up.
The money he's making now isn't terrible either.
No, 6.75. It's decent.
I mean, there's obviously a lot worse contracts out there.
And it gives them now the flexibility to go sign Kyle Connor, who's one of the 2 RFAs left, along with Mikko Rantanen.
I think.
And they have some room to hopefully figure out their defense in the next couple of years.
I think the recent RFA signings have kind of spoiled me. Where I was like, I looked at it and I was like, that's it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's because you're not buying, you're buying restricted free agency years from him. With Marner, the number's so high because you bought UFA years from him. These are years I could have gone to market value. So you got to pay me above market value to keep me here. Mm-hmm. Which I don't understand if you're Mitch Marner, because where are you going to go that's going to give you a better opportunity to win than Toronto? I don't see it. That's why he didn't take the offer sheet with Columbus. That's why he didn't take the offer sheet with Minnesota, because why would he do that?
Right.
He's a lizard tongue.
That's Zuccarello. Yeah, I don't think. I think it's a good deal for the team, because the team gets him at a reasonable number. If he's still that elite goal scorer, it's one of the best contracts in the league for the next 2 years. If he comes in and he's 45 goals, holy shit, you're laughing. But at the end, you got to pay him. That's the issue with these bridge deals. Yep. You know, I go back to PK Subban. You're wearing the shirt. He didn't want a bridge deal. There you go. He showed it for the camera. He didn't want a bridge deal. I don't know if any of you saw that. He held out into the lockout shortened season. He said, I want 8.
Yeah.
They said, you're not getting 8. They finally settled on a bridge deal, and apparently Subban said, okay, but in 2 years, I want 8. And then he won the Norris, and he had a great year after that. And then he got to negotiations, and he said, I want 8. And the team said, no. And that's why they were about a few hours away from arbitration settling a 1-year deal that would walk him to unrestricted free agency, when allegedly Jeff Molson stepped in and said, you got to pay him.
Yeah.
So that's what they did. What are you pointing at?
Not to interrupt. Why is that like that? Why is it picking up for both when you're talking?
Because her microphone's so close.
Okay. Just making sure. Do you want to talk about another signing?
Sure. What do we got?
Tkachuk, 3 years, $7 million.
That makes him the highest paid player on the team.
Calgary.
And if you're Johnny Gaudreau, you're going, what?
And in 3 years, Johnny Gaudreau, Giordano, and Tkachuk will all be expired.
Giordano will probably expire or be on a Chara-like deal, where you're just taking a couple $1 million to try to keep the dream alive. You know, that's an issue for them. I'm not gonna lie. That's
like all your best players. I don't know. Is Calgary gonna make the playoffs?
Yeah, they're a playoff team.
Okay.
Assuming their goaltending holds up.
Yeah, not much to say about Tkachuk. I mean, I don't know enough about him as a player, but
sneaky good. He's annoying, just like his brother Brady.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a rat type player, but he's gonna score you 30 goals,
which is awesome.
Yeah. It's a real good signing for them. I mean, it's good in the sense that they've got him for 3 years, but you better win a cup in the next 3 years, because afterwards you gotta pay up, and we know how tough that is for teams to win when they have to pay their guys. You know, Chicago's the model for that.
For sure. Like we talked about last episode, like no player more than $10 million in the modern cap era has
ever won the Stanley Cup. It's amazing. That's going to end eventually, and I can't wait until it does.
That's, like I said, right when the Rangers win next year.
Okay, yeah.
Moving on, Braden Point signs 3 years, 6.75.
He must really love it in Tampa.
They also don't have much of taxes in Tampa.
I go back and forth on whether or not that's a big consideration when it comes to these guys.
I think it is.
I think it certainly helps. But,
Tampa just has all the monies.
Matt Duchene is picking between Montreal and Nashville. Montreal's taxed out the ass. Tennessee, there's no income tax. Oh, he picked Tennessee. Okay.
Whoa.
Granted, I always thought he was going to go to Nashville because he likes country music and he seems like a very one-dimensional human.
Listen.
Alex Radulov, Montreal or Dallas? Allegedly the same offer on the table. He took Dallas. Now, did he think he got a better chance to win in Dallas? Maybe. No state income tax in Texas certainly helps.
Winning in Dallas.
Dallas is a lot like
They're going to be
Russia.
good this year. I like them this year.
This year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We like Tatar better anyway. He must really love it in Tampa. It can't suck, right? You're playing on the best team in hockey.
You're in Florida.
And you live in Florida.
Like,
yeah.
You're somewhat close to Disney World.
Yeah.
Disney World proximity is
Disney
probably a bigger factor than we think it is.
Sure.
I mean, he's kind of like a kid still, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I think, again, that's another one where in 3 years you got to pay up.
By that time, hopefully, like, the changes will have been made, I think, in Tampa. It'll be interesting to see if that team can hold it all together. But, like, again, if you want to win, that's one of your top 5 choices.
Yeah, you don't let him go, and he clearly didn't want to go anywhere.
Yeah.
He wasn't interested in offer sheets. Yeah, he didn't. He wanted to stay in Tampa. I can't really say I blame him for any of that. What else you got?
Okay, we got the Blues acquired Falk in a deal.
Let's see if I can remember this.
Okay, I'll pull it up.
The Blues traded Dominic Bach, German first-round pick in the 2018 draft, for Joel Edmondson, defenseman. Pretty tough guy to play against, that sort of player. And they threw in a pick, and they get Justin Falk.
The pick they threw in was a 7th rounder in the 2021.
7th rounder, and they get Falk. Who else went over? There was someone. There was another player, wasn't there? Or is there? And then there's a 2nd round pick.
5th round.
5th round pick.
2020.
Okay.
And
now,
then not just
sure.
that,
Go ahead.
the
No,
Blues
go ahead.
immediately signed Falk to like a 7-year contract.
Yeah, they didn't immediately sign him to that. They already had him signed to that when they traded for him.
And then
that's essentially what happens with these deals.
7-year deal, $45.5 million for an AAV of 6.5, which I think is pretty good. He's
I think that's a lot for him. I don't know if he's really worth that. Maybe it's tough to tell because he was buried on a Carolina team that had a lot of good defensemen. Like Jacob Slavin is sneaky, one of the best defensemen in the league. Dougie Hamilton's back there. You had Calvin DeHaan, you traded him. Now you've got Jake Gardner. You've got guys back there. You don't need him. So good on them to move him for a young player in Dominic Bach, who I think is going to be pretty good. Lanky kind of right wing center, I think. Yeah, I mean, the Rangers had a hot girl summer. Carolina also had a hot girl summer.
Yeah, they didn't do too bad.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Carolina.
Oh, it's hot.
Hot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It hot in southern state.
Yeah.
I don't know if I guess this makes the Blues better. Like, are they going to win another cup? Probably not.
I don't know. It does make them better.
Yeah.
Because in the sense that Justin Falk is a large upgrade on Joel Edmondson. But it kind of... I don't even want to say it depletes their prospect. They didn't have to get rid of their top prospect in Jordan Kyrou, who should be in the NHL next year playing really, really good hockey. Robert Thomas is still on that team. They could have traded him away, and they didn't. I don't know. No one thought the Blues were going to win last year. They did. I'm not going to count them out. You know?
Yeah.
I am. The Blues aren't making the playoffs.
Sick. You got any other news? Or do you
Yeah.
want to talk about... You got some other thing?
Oh, I got 2 more things.
Oh, okay, yeah. This one's good.
I also have a thing.
Okay, Kristen's got things. We got Backus. Basically, the story from what I remember, he was like at a rink, I guess, doing some training. Was invited.
Oh, I'm sorry. I keep twisting.
I just can't figure it out.
Was invited to go like to a practice of some like girls figure skating. The girls were like 12, and he wasn't able to do one of their drills, which was like a mohawk skating, which I think is like you're skating with both of your heels touching. Is my understanding of it?
Yeah.
And he like wasn't able to do this, and kind of I guess was like embarrassed a little bit, and hired that figure skating coach to train him how to skate better over the summer.
Whoa.
This is a really big step forward for a guy like Backus, who, remember, it wasn't too long ago where, I think it was last season, he was trying to fight for a spot on the roster, and he's like, I can't outskill these guys. I'm going to be an enforcer and protect my team.
Which isn't good when he has a history of concussion.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm happy for him that he seems to have found another way to try to survive in the National Hockey League.
Mm-hmm.
This is something I don't think you see a ton of.
Especially at his age, where like
his
all of a
age,
sudden now it's like, okay, let me still try to be better.
Yeah.
And like he's already kind of made the decision to not give up, but change his role in a way where now hopefully he can go back to what he was.
That's a really... I think, like, once you're an enforcer in the league, you get stuck in that role.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
That's a really good point.
It's tough to get out of it.
And, there's always going to be, the direction the league is heading now kind of suggests otherwise, but, hockey culture will kind of enforce the idea that a goon is always needed on the lineup somewhere.
Yeah. The Canadians don't have one this year. They got rid of Delorier. I'm pretty thrilled that we don't have a guy that's just out there to try to break someone's brain.
Right.
I don't know how often Shea Weber fights.
I don't want him fighting.
I think Shea Weber's
You don't want him off the ice for 5 minutes,
No, that's true.
I think he's just an intimidating large cryptid that people want to stay away from.
The word that I hear is aura. There's an aura around Shea Weber. You don't fight him.
I'm saying he's a cryptid.
Yeah.
He is a
he still throws some checks.
man.
He's more of a guy who's gonna try to knock you on your ass if you're in front of the goalie.
Okay.
Which I like.
Yeah. That's still a physical presence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is good. This is good for the league. I hope that it works for him because it's a copycat league. They're copycat players. I want to see other guys trying to do this instead of saying, well, I can't skate anymore, so I have to brain somebody.
Yeah.
This is good. Inherently good.
I also want to see more players use different skating methods. Like Jeff Skinner was a figure skater. I would love to see more players learn more tactical ways of moving on the ice.
Right.
Instead of, braining somebody,
you're definitely, in hockey, you're definitely limited by your skating. That's the most important, 100%. That's the most important skill you have to have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What else you got?
And Seattle hires Cami Granado as the NHL's first female pro scout. And she's married to Ray Ferraro. Ray Ferraro
is married to her.
Ray Ferraro's a very good hockey player in his own right.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had 2 empty net goals in his whole career.
Yeah, we've been playing a lot of NHL 20, and he says that a lot.
You know how old Ray Ferraro is?
He's in his 50s, maybe 60s?
He's 55.
55.
That's
I love Ray Ferraro. I don't mean to steal a spotlight from Cami Granado here, but Ray Ferraro is one of my favorite analysts in the game. Cami Granado, pro scout. She's hockey royalty, in my opinion, and I don't think that's going out on a limb there. Mm-hmm. She's just one of the most important names in Canadian hockey.
I just imagine she comes home oh yeah, I was looking at this kid. Ray, I was looking at this kid today. He was born in this state. He went to this high school.
That's if she was married to Pierre Maguire.
Oh, I'm getting the two confused.
No, Ray actually watches hockey.
That's
right. Sorry. Yeah, that's my first thought was, wow, that's good. My second thought was, this is the first one. That's nuts.
True.
Yeah.
I guess Haley Wickenheiser's been busy getting her doctorate or whatever. She seems busy or whatever. I don't know. That's good news. Good for Seattle. They hiring people who aren't usually hired is a market inefficiency, and it's something that you need to do as an expansion team.
And I think it's something that it's an important distinction that it's a new team doing new things. I don't know about the field of scouting so much, but is it kind of the same as coaching and GMs where the same people get recycled in the league?
Yes. She's a pro scout, so she's going to NHL games.
Oh, okay.
Looking for trades, looking at guys that are trade options.
So a scout, as opposed to a scout for prospects.
Exactly.
Right, that's an amateur scout.
Right.
And then you have all the European scouts.
She's going to be critical in the way that they draft their expansion team, because that's all she's going to be doing is scouting guys who are potentially on the block to be on the expansion roster.
She's essentially going to make
Not essentially. It's a team effort.
Yeah.
Anyone there will tell you that. But
she's the fact that they influence it.
That she's there is a huge, I think it's a big deal.
Yeah.
She's probably just there to watch free hockey.
And I'm rooting for that team to succeed. First of all, I want them to have a nice jersey. That's all I really care about.
We loved Vegas when they first came out. We bought their hats and shirts.
I need a jersey still. The jerseys are nice.
I do too.
The jerseys are really nice.
I can't wait. Kristen, what do you got?
Oh, Patrice Bergeron is doing things that make me not hate him.
Fuck him. I hate him because I can't hate him.
He's such a nice guy, and it seems like I don't know who his fucking PR team is, but they just boom, 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 all the good stories this week. It's like, oh, Patrice Bergeron.
So for those who might not know, what happened?
There were a couple things. Patrice Bergeron, there were, like, these stories about, like, they did interviews with the team on, like, what was the nicest thing another player has done for you? Like, what's the best gift you've received from a teammate? Patrice Bergeron fucking took players out to dinner, like, regularly and, like, bought them, like, I think he bought them all watches or something when he played his 1000th game.
Yeah, that's Paul Bissonnette's thing, right?
Jerk move.
Like,
he buys other people's watches.
Because the thing is like when that happens and a player on your team hits 1,000 games, you're all supposed to chip in for a gift for him.
Exactly.
And Paul Bissonnette was saying on the Spit and Chicklets podcast, he was like, "This is bullshit. I play with so many guys who have played 1,000 games, buy so many fucking gifts. It's bullshit. They should be buying me stuff."
Can you imagine the guy that's at like 990 games and then Bergeron does this first? He's like, "Damn it."
Yeah. David Krejci's like, all right, Patrice,
okay,
all right. See you.
And then, like, just the cherry on top, and I just mean this in a very genuine way because this is incredibly nice. Jamel Smith of the Tampa Bay Lightning was really deep in the trenches of depression to the point where he was not sleeping. And felt very isolated and everything. And Patrice Bergeron reached out to him and suggested that he get help for his issues. And then he did, and it's a potentially, like, career-saving thing that he did for him.
That's so
And it's just, like, I feel like recently there's been more of a trend of athletes talking about mental health issues and talking about, like, just, like, personal issues and, like, everyday struggles that you don't associate with athletes. So, like, it's just really cool to see that.
Yeah.
See it.
Yeah. He's one of the better leaders in the league on the ice and clearly off of it.
That's, like, they couldn't have picked a more perfect, like, oh, no, he's not captain.
He's not the captain. That's the thing. They won a cup with Zdeno as the captain, so, I mean, they can't...
Right.
I've always thought that Patrice Bergeron's the leader of that team.
He has, like, the invisible C.
You know, like, Shea Weber wears it in Montreal, but make no mistake, it's Carey Price. You know?
Yeah.
Well,
he's got a C in his name, so it really...
Yeah.
The one upsetting thing about Patrice Bergeron is, like, he's... Well, in my head, at least, I don't know if he was drafted by Boston, right?
Yep.
He's only ever played for Boston, which kind of sucks. I kind of wish he was, like, come play for my team.
Yeah.
Or just, like, go to a better team.
Please?
Yeah, any other team that I could
root for,
buy a jersey for.
Yeah, exactly.
Please.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So this is going to be the last show before...
Season starts.
Excuse me. Before the season starts. Starts on Wednesday. We're recording this on Friday. Let's get some fucking hot takes out in the world.
Yeah.
Let's talk about first the Canadiens and Rangers, because that's what this podcast is really about.
Truly.
Trevor, you're Rangers.
I know.
Playoff team.
I don't know.
Oh, you know what we should do? We should pull up something for reference. I'm going to pull up the USA Today predictions.
Oh, thank you. I saw those. Yeah.
Oh.
Dude, the Rangers are such a question mark. I've said that like 3 times this episode, but
they had a hot girl summer.
I know, and like the problem is with the preseason, I watched most of the games, but very rarely did they play their official lineup. But goddamn, when they did, it was clicking sometimes. I mean, they've only won like 1 game, and it wasn't like a shootout, but like that doesn't count.
Trevor,
I don't know. I know. I saw this, and I think I remember.
So let's do this. Let's do this because I'm a degenerate. Let's do this in gambling. We don't actually have to bet on it, but let's pretend that this is what Vegas is opening the season at for our respective teams. Mm-hmm. I'll say they have it set as 82. I'll set you at 81.5. Over under. What are you taking? Points in the season. They have them 37, 37, and 8. In 5th place in the Metro.
I think
82 points.
So
you're going to take the over. You think they're better than 80. You're going to get at least 82 points.
And one of the reasons for that is because I I wish I could credit the person. I forget where I saw it. Maybe it was somewhere. But Henrik Lundqvist was talking about like in the past like year or so, he was like kind of depressed during the season. But then this year, like when he was out in Sweden over the summer, and he kept seeing all the news, like the trades and guys that were coming in, he was like getting hyped up. And,
I read something
when Henrik Lundqvist is hyped up, like
I read something today that he's made like some small changes to like the way that he moves and to his equipment, and it's not stuff that we'll be able to see, but he says it makes him feel a lot better.
It makes all the difference.
Yeah. You were going to ask something, Kristen?
Yes, I was.
What?
What would that put them in the standings?
So this would put them
wild card, or
they wouldn't
outside?
they wouldn't make the playoffs.
Okay.
This record has 2 teams from the Atlantic making the playoffs, which is good for the Canadians.
Usually you need the magic numbers around like 95, 96.
Okay.
And that's where it is. Exactly, it's at 96.
Yep.
So the Canadians...
Unless you're the Canadians who get 96 and still don't make it.
Fuck.
Shit.
Like how much Got me started on the last
Got me started.
The Canadians are listed at 96 points. 44, 30, and 8.
I think that's somewhat accurate.
So I'll do the same. 95.5. By the way, I'm taking the under on the Rangers. I don't think they're going to get 82 points.
You don't think they'll break even?
No, I don't think they'll get 82 points.
Okay, can't wait to freaking We're going to have to play this episode.
You want to do this?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Receipts.
All right, I'll put $20 on it.
No, I'm not putting money on it.
All right, then fuck you.
He just means for like.
I told you I was a degenerate. I told you.
Now, another thing we can talk about is the awards.
Hold on.
Capo wins the Calder, right?
Maybe he doesn't. Maybe
does.
Jack Hughes wins it. He looked really good in the preseason.
Maybe Jack
Canadians 96 points. I'll put him at 95.5.
Okay.
I have a hard time saying they're gonna get more than 96, which is what gives me pause to say I'm gonna take the over. I still think they're gonna be a playoff team.
No, you can't have both.
That's what's tough. That number's really high for them. And it still has the Panthers ahead of them at 98. The Panthers get in as the first wild card.
Oh my god, the Panthers have Joel Quenneville.
Yeah.
Shit,
I don't
like at first I was like, wait, the Panthers
I'm not as high on the Panthers as a lot of people are. They're a team that we keep being told, "Oh, look out, they're coming."
Right.
Look what Barry Trotz
We'll fucking do it. They gotta fucking do it eventually.
Sure.
Yeah,
They do.
and when Barry Trotz took over the Islanders, I still didn't believe they were going to be a good team last year. There was no reason to believe that. They lost Tavares. They had a shit summer.
They did.
They got in Robin Lehner, who is now gone anyway.
Yeah, that made no sense. Robin Lehner shouldn't have been that good.
No. Like, I'm a believer that you have to show it to me before I can be like, okay, I'm on board. Like with Carolina last year. Everyone's like, get on board. Carolina's going to be good. I didn't fucking believe it. They turned out to be good. Now, I'm on board. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Robin Lehner pulled that nonsense where, like, he created a story about himself and then he rode that wave.
We just gotta have a story.
That's the whole
this
thing.
is they have the Metro as a really, really weak division.
Really?
The Canadians get in as the second wildcard team in the Atlantic with 96 points. That would be good enough to win the Metro. Or at least tie for first place with Washington, who would get 96.
Wow.
They've got Carolina with 90, the Penguins with 90, and the Blue Jackets with 90.
I keep forgetting Carolina's the Metro.
You're already locked up. Unlock it.
I don't know. Like, the Penguins could miss the playoffs.
All right, let's do this then. Division winners. Let's start in the Metropolitan. Who wins that division?
Oh, boy.
Capitals,
yeah.
I think it's Capitals. I don't think Carolina's that far behind. I also don't think Pittsburgh's going to be as good as we think they will be.
Islanders above Pittsburgh.
They've got Islanders at the bottom.
Really?
The only team worse is the Devils, and I don't understand that at all.
What?
Oh, I forgot about the Devils.
Sorry.
The Devils might be better than the Capitals.
No, I still think that because the Capitals have been there, done that, got the T-shirt.
Sure, they got PK Subban.
I'll do this. Capitals, Hurricanes, Devils in that order.
Okay.
I'd swap the
That's
Hurricanes
my belief.
and Devils.
The Flyers not too close behind either.
I would
They're gonna be right there.
love for the Flyers to make it.
They got to get
into
in.
the playoffs.
Atlantic, who wins? 1, 2, 3. Tampa Bay.
Tampa.
Shoot.
Capitals won both the Metro and the Atlantic. Cool.
Yeah.
They have Tampa winning with 115 points. Boston right behind, and by right, put right in air quotes, they're 10 points back with 105.
Okay, that's pretty close, though.
The Leafs have 102. Panthers and Canadians get in as wildcard teams.
Right. Like, what has really changed about Boston's roster since last?
Nothing. They're just consistently good.
Who do you have, Leafs or Bruins, in terms of placing higher?
I think the Bruins are going to take a step back this year. I think Father Time's catching up. It's gotta. It gets to everybody.
Toronto can be a tire fire, though.
They could be.
Toronto has a full season of Nylander.
They have a full season of Nylander. They don't wait on Marner. I'm assuming that they're still going to run Freddie Anderson into the ground.
Who did they just pick up on defense?
Tyson Barrie. Their defense is better this year. It won't be better after this year because everyone else is gone.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I bet we're still looking down the barrel of Maple Leafs Bruins in round 1.
That'd be so.
And it'll be even funnier when the Maple Leafs lose.
Let's go to 7, guys.
When the Maple Leafs lose Game 7 on home ice this time, it'll be different.
Ooh, I like that.
Mix it up.
Central Division. Here are your teams: Wild, Blackhawks, Jets, Blues, Stars, Predators, Avalanche. Not in that order.
Oh,
Not in that order.
I was like, what?
I'm asking you to pick a winner.
You said them too fast. I'm just gonna pull it up. I'm gonna pull it up.
Stars, Blues, Predators, Avs, Jets, Blackhawks, Wild are your teams in the Central. They're the only division with 7 teams in it.
This is a messy division. It could be anybody's game.
I am gonna say.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Okay,
I'm torn between Nashville and the Peg.
See, Nashville takes a step back, right? You lost PK Subban.
You got Matt Duchene.
Yep. They got Matt Duchene.
I put
saying.
winner. Dallas is the winner of that division.
You're both wrong. Colorado's winning.
Well, I'm not trying to pick what they're.
No, they picked Colorado, but I'm also saying Colorado's winning that division.
You think so?
Hands down, they're the most. Looking up and down the rosters, they're the most talented team there, in my opinion.
Wow.
Their top line, assuming Mikko Rantanen signs, which he's gotta. Apparently, the talks are getting closer there. But now they've got more depth. They've got Kadri down the middle on their second line.
Oh, fuck. I forgot about that.
And they've got Cale Makar making the lineup.
I don't think they're going to do that line. History doesn't repeat itself often.
They're a team that really plays the possession game well. I think that they're going to be the team to beat in the Central. That's my hot take.
Okay.
Does St. Louis make the playoffs?
They've got the Avalanche with 100 points, Nashville in second with 95, Dallas in third with 94. The Blues make it as a wild card team with 93. The Jets do not make the playoffs.
Wow.
Really? That's bold, I think.
They have 88 points, same as the Blackhawks. They have 88, and the Wild have 68 points. Oh, by the way, the Senators 54 points this season. Record 24, 52, and 6.
24 is pretty good.
Fucking feel the excitement, Eugene. Get ready. The Pacific Division. Here are your teams. The Golden Knights, Coyotes, Oilers, Canucks, Flames, Sharks, Ducks, Kings. 8-team division.
I feel like in this division it's almost easier just to name the bad ones first.
Yeah.
So like Kings, no. Ducks.
Kings on here are 55 points, so just 1 point better than Ottawa.
Ducks,
no.
I'm going no.
They're the second worst team listed here with 79 points.
Canucks, no.
They're the third. You're going right up from the bottom. You're fucking killing it. 80 points.
Now, this is a tough one. I'm going to say they're going Coyotes.
They didn't.
They went Oilers.
They went Oilers
Damn.
with 83 points.
Yeah.
The Coyotes, they have them making the playoffs.
Okay.
They have the Coyotes as the second wild card team with 92 points.
I think.
Second.
Can I give my top 3?
Phil Kessel.
Oh.
Can I give my top 3 from that?
Let's go ahead. What's your top 3?
San Jose.
Do you have them first?
Yep.
Trevor, who do you have top in the division?
Wait. Oh, my goddamn Netflix. I freaking NHL app just crashed. Now I'm just shooting blind here. I'll go.
The 3 teams left are the Knights, the
Calgary.
Flames, and the Sharks.
Flames.
So you have the Flames in first. Yeah. Is that who you think is going to win, or what you think they have?
That's what I think.
So what did you say? Sharks?
Sharks.
I think the Golden Knights are winning that division.
Oh,
I think people are really sleeping on that team.
Yeah.
They're always good.
Always. They did it twice.
Well,
Exactly.
I think what the sleeping on is due to the fact that like
The sleeping on.
is two. That was the whitest.
Thanks for naming the podcast, by the way.
The fact that they did so well their first season and they had like more of a sophomore slump.
Yeah.
You know.
Still made the playoffs.
Yeah, but
Still made the
didn't go to the final.
Yeah, I've got the Knights. I think they're really going to pull it together this year. This ranking has the Sharks with 97 points winning that division. The Flames in second with 96, and the Knights in third with 93.
I really
Sharks are a wild card team for me.
The Flames do a good thing.
As do I.
Sharks lost Pavelski. Who else they lose?
They kept Carlson. They named Couture their captain.
Joe Thornton.
They didn't do anything to help their goaltending.
Is Joe Thornton going to be good?
He'll be a 30, 35-point guy, all assists, one empty net goal. Sounds like Joe at this point. We're still waiting on Patrick Marleau. What's he doing?
That's who I was thinking about, too. They should be decent.
All right, who comes out of the East? Who's your Stanley Cup finalist from the Eastern Conference?
Ideally, Habs.
Ideally, the Montreal Canadiens, yeah.
Like, I just have such a tough time not picking Tampa.
They're a team that they got to do it.
Like, you
were
have such a bad taste in your mouth. Like,
I think they're going to be a team like the Capitals in that they don't win it until no one thinks they're going to.
That's not
Tampa. Tampa reminds me a lot of the 2009 Caps team that the Canadiens beat. They were just so good all year. They basically clinched a playoff spot in January because of how good they were. Unstoppable offense, although you got to give Tampa a lot more credit. They have a much better goaltender and a much better defense. But
you're welcome.
Yeah. Take care of our boy Mikhail.
Yeah, Rangers South.
But I don't know what it is. And until they do it, I can't buy in. I can't bring myself to be like, I'm on the Tampa train.
That's fair.
I forget where I saw it, but someone was talking about like the Tampa playing against Columbus again, basically just being like, you can't lose against them like ever.
Oh, it was I think it was Steve Dangle podcast.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
I forget. It was just like you have to go and beat them like 10-0.
Yeah, you have to just stick it to them entirely.
Destroy.
From the West.
Well, I didn't pick a team in the East.
That doesn't matter.
Okay, cool. I think it'll be Washington.
Wow.
I do. I think they've got one last push with this core before it falls apart. Ovi still looks really good. Holtby's contract is up at the end of the year, so they're going to try to push hard to win here.
Okay.
As much as I would love to say Montreal or Carolina for that matter, as much as I hate them.
Tampa was my serious answer, but my not so serious answer, but kind of serious, is the Panthers.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
Because I have a problem, which I think most hockey fans have a problem, where when you're like making a bracket or something, you go off of like last year. And it never works that way.
Right.
Teams really, for the most part, don't win the Stanley Cup twice in a row.
It's so fucking unpredictable.
The West.
It's so hard. I'll say Colorado.
I'm all in on Colorado this year. I should place bets. Like, I feel really confident about that team. They're so good.
Flams.
That's not a bad pick either.
I picked them last year, too.
I picked them like the last 4 seasons, and they keep letting me down.
Like, Flams, Tampa Bay. I think I was even Flams Buffalo at one point. Wasn't I last year?
Yeah, because we did it. We would pick every month.
Yeah.
So stay tuned in a month where these answers are different.
Where I go Flams Buffalo.
So who wins? You've got Colorado and who? You picked
Tampa.
like 6 teams.
I know.
You're going to pick Tampa to win the Cup?
No, I think it's going to be someone from the West this year.
They're going to be Colorado that wins it.
I wouldn't mind that.
I think Washington wins. I love Colorado, but Washington's been there.
That's a really good choice, too.
Yeah.
My situation?
Yeah, you had Flames in Tampa?
Flames in Florida.
Flames in Florida.
I think Flames.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want Flames.
When did Washington get eliminated this past year? Do you remember?
The first round.
Was the first round?
To Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Game 7 in overtime.
I hate this last year's playoffs.
It was bad.
Everything wrong happened.
Yeah. No one...
It made no sense.
Chaos!
Chaos is cool, but it does make a little bit more sense if your league makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
I have one last thing.
Okay.
Also, I forgot. We should have talked about this beforehand. Shout out to Dan Girardi retiring.
Yes.
He played for like a lot of years with the Rangers and was just like...
He was a minute eater. Like he played a lot of hockey. He wasn't...
Since they started like tracking it in like 2007 or something, he like leads with block shots.
Yeah. Dan Girardi will be the first person to tell you that he's not the most skilled hockey player, It's probably why he went undrafted.
And he played I think 927
that makes his story that much more impressive. You know, we see the end of his career where it was kind of ugly towards the end, but he was a Stanley Cup finalist with the Rangers. A few Eastern Conference finals in there too, where you guys lost, just barely. He was an important part of that team for a long time.
For sure.
You know, it's kind of crazy. Him and Callahan both go out in the same summer. He's technically with Ottawa, but he's never going to play again. Yeah. So, it's interesting.
Yeah, definitely like a good guy, great team guy.
Yeah, works hard, loves the game.
For sure, going undrafted to like over 900 games is nuts.
I've got an article on RabidHabs that I wrote, was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday.
You should talk about this before the hour 10-minute mark. Like, maybe put this...
Yeah.
You should promote your stuff earlier.
Nah, that's good.
Oh, okay.
Jonathan...
I'm no expert.
Jonathan Drouin looks like he's going to start the season on the third line with Jesperi Kotkaniemi and Jordan Wheel, who I believe is signed. He'll be on a wing. We don't know which one yet. Okay.
Do you like him at that, or would you rather see him in center?
It's very complicated. I think that he should be... I don't want him at center. I don't think he's a center anymore. But...
Anymore?
No. But... This seems very similar, and I point this out in the article. I start off saying he was a third-round pick. Everyone was really excited when he got here because it looked like he was going to play center. He was an offensive player. Then all of a sudden he has a really great start to a season, and then he falls off, and then he can't regain it. And then he's on the third line, and then he's on the fourth line. And now he's playing less than 10 minutes a night, and then he's traded to Arizona. Well, that was Alex Galchenyuk. But that's exactly what's happening with Jonathan Drouin all over again.
I think it's a slower
I think it's much faster.
You think so?
Absolutely. Jonathan Drouin is going into his third season here.
You're right.
He's already in the bottom six?
Yep.
Now, granted, Claude Julien came out today and was like, you guys need to lay off a little bit. But there are apparently rumors that Marc Bergevin's shopping his name around. You'd be selling at an absolute low point on him.
Where did those rumors come from, Ian?
Yeah, that was a little lame. So the rumors came from Eric Engels, who's the Canadiens reporter for Sportsnet. He quoted an Eastern Conference executive who texted him and said his name's definitely out there. When asked about the trade rumors, Marc Bergevin said something to the effect of, it's the basement bloggers in Toronto, that's where these rumors come from. Eric Engels was in the room with him. He couldn't have been more than 20 feet away from the guy when he said that.
That's bad.
I'm like, that's a bad look.
Yeah.
You're not inherently lying, but it's a bad look.
What do you mean, like, lying?
He wasn't lying in the sense, because he said most of these rumors come from... He's wrong, but he's not...
Eric?
No, it's a bad look for Mark.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's a bad look for him being like, oh, it's nothing. It's one of the most reputable reporters that the Canadians have.
Did you just try to do a French accent?
No.
It was good.
It just comes out. I listen to Marc Bergevin talk way too much.
There was something else I wanted to say.
But yeah, I'm at a point with the player where I think that he's still a talented hockey player and he still has more to give, but that this just might not be working out. And that's okay. It's okay for the player, and it's okay for the team to admit that this isn't working anymore.
Yep.
I think that we're at a point with this player where we have a hard time with that, where it's less about the fit and more about either you hate the player or you're just a cheerleader for the player, which is sad that we can't have any sort of nuance.
And I think, I don't know if this is a uniquely Montreal Canadian fan problem, but it sure seems like it. Where if we trade somebody, then fuck that guy. You know, like, oh, he's awful.
That never happened with Max Pacioretty.
Yeah.
But it certainly happened with Galchenyuk. But, you look at how that Galchenyuk trade worked out. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It worked for the Canadiens.
Same with the Max Pacioretty trade.
Max Pacioretty trade was great. This is my biggest... The thing in the article that I think gives us
all the secrets.
The most hope is that Marc Bergevin's last two big trades like that, he supposedly had his back against the wall and he was trading from a position of weakness. And he robbed the other team blind on both of them.
That's a position of weakness, then I'd like to see a position of...
Yeah. Marc Bergevin from positions of strength doesn't do very well, apparently.
Listen, though, like
he didn't need to trade Mikhail Sergachev, and he got Jonathan Drouin, who...
Do you regret that trade?
I think...
Sergachev is like better?
My big problem with that trade is that I think from the very beginning, Marc Bergevin and his team expected that Jonathan Drouin was going to come in and be a center for this roster.
Yes.
And that was unfair of an expectation to put on him from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as soon as he was traded, people were... The rumors were... the mumbles were out there, oh, he's going to play center.
Yep.
It was a mistake then. It's a mistake now. Now that he's on the wing and it's not working, you're left with a really talented hockey player who still can't figure it out.
I don't understand why this team tries to put people at center who aren't centers.
But that's
I don't understand.
To make things worse for Drouin, they did it with Domi and it worked.
Yeah.
Domi was a winger, and he came over and he put up 70 points as a center for the first time.
Yeah.
Like, it makes things... And it sucks. And I said this in the article, too. I'm just going to fucking say the whole thing now.
Oh,
It was me. It was me.
We're good. Just click on the link so he gets the...
Yeah, I'll share it. But Jonathan Drouin's now on the third line, and he's looking up at a roster that is completely different from when he stepped onto the team.
Yep.
The two forwards that were acquired for Max Pacioretty, his old line mate, are now above him in the roster.
Yep.
Nick Suzuki's penciled in on the second line as a rookie.
Yep.
Thomas Tatar's a first liner. That guy looks like a fucking stud every time he's on the ice.
Yep.
I think it's got to be hard for him looking at that and saying, this team isn't the same team I was on 3 years ago. You know? Mm-hmm. The roster has changed dramatically around him to the point where maybe what was a fit then isn't a fit now.
Yeah.
There's too many talented wingers on this roster and not enough talented defensemen.
Exactly.
And when you traded a talented defenseman to get him, it's sort of a rough sell.
Yeah.
I'm holding out hope that either A, it works out and him and Kotkaniemi look fucking amazing, or B, that they're able to trade him for a top pairing defenseman. But I'm not sold that either one of those. I don't know which one of those is the clubhouse leader at the moment. So, more to come on that, I guess. Yeah. Where he's going to be the most fascinating player to watch on that roster.
Stay tuned to find out next week.
Yeah, if you're watching 92 in a Habs jersey. Like, that's what I'm watching for. Yeah. As well as 14, Suzuki. He took Plekanec's number. How dare he? Our sweet baby turtleneck. Miss you, buddy.
It is good for teams. Like, I feel like every team has that player where it's like you kind of a question mark, or like you're just waiting to see what becomes of them.
It is good, but they sunk a lot of capital into him.
They did.
They sunk a first pairing defenseman who was supposed to play with Shea Weber.
Like a potential franchise defenseman.
Imagine right now that Drouin trade doesn't happen. We're looking at Mete on the second pairing with Jeff Petrie. And we're looking at Mikhail Sergachev on the first pairing with Shea Weber. That's fucking good. Yeah. That's probably the best defensive top four we've had forever. Yeah. You know? Like, you should have made the trade. It's so easy for me to sit here and say that now when the player we got is at his lowest value ever. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not fair to the player who last year for the first half of the season looked like an animal out there. And then he broke his nose, which certainly didn't help. Yeah. You know?
Can't say it ever has.
Now, the argument's going to be, how many goals you score with your nose? Shut up. It doesn't feel good. Like, you know?
It's like that Nolan Patrick migraine thing where it's like, people are like, oh, well, you could still play hockey with a headache. It's like, it's not a headache.
So if you want to check out that article, it's on RabidHabs. I'll tweet more links to it because I'm a shameless self promoter. Yeah. Yeah. So go check that out. Some people are liking it. I was surprised by that because most of the time people don't. That's all we have this week, I think.
That's all I have.
We've been going for a while here. We had something lined up that we were supposed to do beforehand. It fell through. We're going to try to figure it out.
Fell through.
We don't want to give too much of it away because it's pretty cool. But
it's pretty cool, but
maybe one day we'll be able to share it with everyone.
Yeah.
My voice is fucking hoarse as fuck right now, dude.
You don't work tomorrow.
If you are interested in sending us questions for our next podcast.
Yeah.
Please do so.
Yeah, don't wait for the tweet to come out because I might not send it. Why? Like some piece of shit.
We didn't send one today.
Are the DMs open?
I think the DMs are open. You don't need to DM us though if you don't want to.
Open.
You can.
Maybe some people want like private questions.
Yeah.
You can also email
us.
Yeah,
they have to be open. You can yeah, I don't check that
true,
though.
They have to be open.
You don't check that?
No. So just tweet at any one of us and we'll definitely answer it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's been a question we haven't answered.
Exactly.
So
that could be dangerous.
Yeah. You want to be pod famous? This is how you get pod famous.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Thanks for listening.
You can find the podcast at Nosebleeds Cast. We'll tweet it out at RabidHabs as well. Follow, subscribe to us on YouTube. Get the videos to your face.
You want to see what our living room looks like?
Yeah.
You want to see what outfit I'm wearing today?
I'm sweaty as hell. I haven't showered. I gotta shower.
You want to see how I match my jerseys to news?
Can't wait to wear more jerseys. I'm very excited.
That's a really good.
I tried.
Power move.
I always do that.
I'm hoping it's a big news year for Paul Byron.
Hey dog, I heard you like Paul Byron.
You can follow me at Boisvert Ian.
How do you spell that?
BOISVERT Ian. I'm trying to think of what I'm tweeting about recently. There's a picture of a really great egg sandwich I had for breakfast.
Dude, it looked great.
You ever have it? Is Bagel Man only a Connecticut thing?
I don't think so.
Are there Bagel Mans elsewhere?
I mean,
Yo, if you're ever near Bagel Man,
Bagelman.
Sausage, egg, and cheese, everything bagel, and get the hash brown on it. Wow. It's amazing. Wow. My friend at work turned me on to it, and I was like, that sounds wonderful. And I ate it. I was like, it's even better than I thought. And then I was mad at her at the end because the sandwich was gone because I ate it. And then I couldn't eat any more of it because it was gone.
It's like, yo, dog, you want some starch in your starch?
Hey, yo, dog, I heard you like carbohydrates.
Dog.
You can follow me on Twitter at GoldsPersonal. Tweet about movies on occasion. Recently watched 2 movies. 3 movies. They're great movies.
Recently.
And, I tweet about them.
You can follow me on Twitter at letterbombs, _bombs. Some days I live tweet the 19th century books I'm reading. And other days I scream about sexism.
That was really good. At least through my headphones.
Other days I scream about sexism. You awake now?
Oh, what?
Yeah. Other days I just fuck around a little bit. So
I'm going to the Rangers home opener.
Trevor, they play the Jets in that game. Final score.
Oh, I hope it's like 5-2 Rangers.
Kristen, Montreal plays in Carolina their first game. Final score.
4-3.
I'll go 4-2 Montreal. Oh. Empty netter, Jordan Wheel. Woo! We'll see you next week.